application. Yeah. So this is the admin application, right, that we are going to build. Okay. Yeah. This is how we're going to build it. So to allow the user to add products, edit products details, update product details, and we'll also make sure that it will allow the user also to view the payments, the orders, and we'll also have an analytics section. So without wasting much of the time, let's start building our authentication, right? So to start with our authentication, let's first create our model folder. So the first folder is going to be user.dat. So it's must an abstract class. We will be using our first abstract class user with underscore $user. Okay, something like this. Okay, it's going to be a factory user, and then we need a string for the user ID or the UID. UID. We also need an email. And I also need a password. String password. So if you have not watched my previous video on how to set up Firebase, please watch it, because you need that for you to understand how to set up Firebase. Then we also need the user profile image. So the other thing that we need a boolean for is admin, which we are going to use to check if it's if the user is an admin or not. Default is admin. Okay, so let's just freeze default. Okay, so let's just set this one to default. Then let's set it to false. Okay. All right. So the next thing that we need to do is let's just set this equal to underscore user. Okay, so let's just change it to user model, because it will clash with our user from Firebase. Firebase also has another class called user, so we don't want any conflicts. Okay, so the next thing that we are now going to do is we need to import freezed. So just type freezed. Okay, let's go into a pubsec.yaml. We have the freeze package already installed. Okay, so let's just close it, and then import freezed. Package freezed annotation freezed annotation.dat. Okay. Alright, so we also need a part user dot freezed dot dat, like this. so let's just underline this like this, and then the next thing that we just need to do is we need to run flutter pub build run flutter pub run build run and delete conflicting outputs. So please. Okay, so made a typo here. It's supposed to be the constructor must be user model. Okay, so now let's move to the next step, which is factory user model. User model dot from JSON map string dynamic JSON, and then underscore $sign user model from JSON, and then we're going to let's JSON. Okay, user model from JSON. Okay, so let's just comment the user.g.dat. So let's run also, let's use the command, the flutter pub run build. Okay, as you can see now we have these two generated files generated by our first package. So the next step now, we need to move into our services folder. So we need to create the auth service .dat file like this. Okay. So just create a class auth service. Now we're going to have two variables. Firebase Firestore. And then we also need Firebase auth. Firebase auth underscore Firebase auth. Okay, like this. So let's just import so what's going on here? Firebase auth cloud Firestore. This, they're already in the dependencies, but somehow they're not. Okay, so let's just do it manually. Cloud Firestore. Cloud Firestore.dat. Then let's import also Firebase auth. Firebase auth.dat. Okay, so now let's create a constructor for a class. Required, we need Firebase Firestore, and then we also need required Firebase auth, and then Firebase auth. Let's set those ones to Firebase Firestore is equal to need to first initialize our user model. User model like this. Let's give it an underscore so that we can make it private. Okay, so let's then make our collection reference for our user. Just get users is equal to firestore dot collection. So the collection path is going to be users. And then the other thing, we also need a stream of users. So we are going to get a stream of users, and then we are going to use that stream for state persistence to check if our user is logged in or not. So get auth state change. Which is going to be firebase auth state changes like this. Okay. So basically what this will do is, as you can see from this, notifies about changes to user sign-in state. So it's going to check this if the user is signed in or signed out in our application. So we are going to use that to check if our user is signed in or signed out. If he's signed in, we are going to display the dashboard. If he's signed out, then we are going to redirect the user to the login page, right? Okay. So now the next thing is we need to start working on signing in our users. Okay. So let's create a folder called core. And then in that folder, we'll just create type. We need another file called type definitions dot dat. Okay, like this. So it's going to be type definition. Then we need a feature either of type T. Okay, so another one which is going to be type def feature void. Just go to future either and type void like this. Okay. So here we need to import fp.package. Okay, so now we need another file which we are going to just call failure.dat failure. So we use this to display errors in our signing in and sign up. And these are signing in or sign up. Okay, so let's just import it here. We're done. Okay, let's go back to our auth service. So we're going to say future either user model, which is nullable, which we are going to sign in with email and password, like this. It's going to be a string email, and then string password. Right, sync. Yeah, and then let's use a try catch block. Okay. So we're going to just await firebase auth dot sign in email, sign in user with email and password, like this. Email, we're going to set the email to email and then password to password, and then we want to return right. Okay, so what happens with the future either is that a future either is a type of either that either stores two different values, but it can store them at the same time. For example, in our logging in or signing in or signing, when our user is signing in or logging in, there's either going to be a success or a failure. Those things cannot exist at the same time. So that's what we are going to. That's why we are using future either. So in this case, I'm returning right. That means that we are going to return right. We are going to represent success with right. That means that if it's right, then we are going to return the user with its user ID. And then if it's left, that means it's an error. Then we are going to display the failure, a message that's going to come from Firebase. I hope this makes it clear. Okay, so let's continue with the application. User model, like this. Firebase auth dot current user dot UID, like this. You see? Yeah. Now I think now we are good to go. The other thing, now we need to catch exceptions. Okay. If there is any exceptions, then we need to return left. Okay. Right. So to return left, failure, we need to just return a failure, which is e.toString, like this. Okay. Yeah. So it's a undefined class in future either. Let's just import that. Okay. So that's it for the for signing in. Now we move on to sign up. Okay. So future either, again, we're just going to use a model which can be null. Okay. Sign up with email and password, like this. Okay, so we need a string nullable, which is email string. Okay, nullable. So if I go to user I think we forgot something. I think we forgot a username. Yeah. Okay, so let me just go to Firebase real quick and check if we forgot something. So if we go to our database, firebase database users, yeah, we forgot first name and last name. String first name, then string also last name, like this. Okay, so let's just run flutter pub run build command to update our okay, so string first name, and then string password, string first name, string last name, key. Yeah, I think that's it for the that's it. So we're just going to run a try teach block firebase auth dot create user and email, just email, and then password, like this. And then we need to make sure we use then, and then it's going to be credential, okay, it's going to be an async. So we need to get the user credentials, that means the user email and password. Okay, so we are just going to check if the credential and the additional user information is new user, that means that the user is new. So we are going to say user model is close to user model, like this. UID is going to be firebase auth dot current user dot UID. Okay, and then first name we set it to first name, last name is got last name. All right, and then after this, what we are going to do is we are just going to await users dot document. That is that we are just going to store our users information into the database, right? If the user is new, dot UID, right? And then we just set user model dot to JSON, right? Like this. Okay. All right. Else, what we are going to do is user model is equal to await get user details, which is a function that we're just going to create. Dot user dot Okay, so after that, after this, we are just going to return right. That means that if we have a success, we are just going to return the user model with dot current user dot uid, like this. Yeah, and then we need first name, and then last name also. All right. Now if there's an error, so that means we need to just catch it using e. If there is an error, then we are going to just return left, which is a message failure e.toString. Okay, like this. Right, so we need we are left with some more methods. We also need future void sign out, which is also an async function, which we are going to say await. We are going to just await firebase auth dot sign out. And then we need another function which is stream user type, user model, get user details, provide the UID. And then we are just going to return the user model. We're just going to return users. Okay. The document which is UID, and then snapshots. And then we are just going to map those snapshots. We're just going to map them into user model dot from JSON and dot data, and then we just convert that data into map, then string dynamic. Okay, I think, yeah, that's it for our services folder. Right, so the next thing now, we are going to go into our auth controller. We are going to work on our auth controller, then we move on to the user interface. Okay guys, so now we are moving on to our auth controller. Yeah, so let's just create auth controller. Okay, so before I forget, let's go back to our auth service. Okay, let's create another folder called providers, and then let's just base providers like this. Okay, so we're just going to say final firebase firestore. Firebase firestore provider is go to provider reference and then firebase firestore dot instance. Okay, so we need these providers for dependence injection. So let's just import flutter report. We need to import flutter report. Okay, so let's import flutter report. Okay. Okay, so let's just copy this and let's paste it below 2 times. Okay, so let's just paste it below 2 times. So here we're going to say firebase auth provider. Let's change it to firebase auth like this. Let's import firebase auth. Here let's change it to firebase storage. These are the main that we are going to be using. Firebase storage. Okay, let's import it manually. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so what we can do, we can just do this. Let's go and say flutter firebase storage. Okay. Example. Let's just copy this. All right, let's go back and post. Let's post it. Go back. Okay, so all right, so let's just paste it inside. Okay, firebase storage dot instance. Yeah, so now we are good to go. If we let's just close all these other files, unnecessary files, we don't need them for now. Okay, so if you go to our auth service, we are going to say final auth service provider is equals to provider auth service, then ref dot watch firebase firestore provider, then dot watch firebase auth provider. Yeah, so now we are good to go. Let's go into our auth provider, auth controller, and let's work out some magic. So it's going to extend the state notifier. So it's also part of Riverport package. Okay, let's declare some variables. And then final reference object. We have a reference object. I think we don't need the storage provider on this one, storage service on this one. And then auth controller constructor. Yeah, and then we have required auth service reference, and then reference. Okay, let's set that to auth service is equals to auth service, and then the reference is equal to reference. And then also need a super, right? And then I'll also need the stream user. Get state change. Auth state change. Okay. Now, next step is we need to sign in with email and password. So we need the build context string email, and then string password. Let's say the state is equals to true. Okay. It's equals to await dot sign in with email and password. Okay. State is equals to false. So we're going to say user.fold. So if we use user.fold on our left, we are just going to display a scaffold. We're just going to display a snake bar with the error if there is an error from Firebase. Show snake bar. So it's supposed to be scaffold messenger. And then we're going to the snake bar. The content of the snake bar is going to be text failure.message. So we're just going error.message like this. If it's a success, we also want to display this snake bar. No, so if it's a success, we are just going to say success Here we can also change it to failure. Like this. So we are just going to change this to failure.message. Yeah. So if it's a success, what we want to do is want to use ref.read and then auth service provider dot provider dot get user details. So I think I might be missing something here. So we need to create a user provider outside here. So we're just going to say final user provider. So this user provider, we are going to use it to update the user's information. We use a state provider of type user model like this. Reference, and then we need to bring it null. Yeah, like this. So we're going to use provider dot notifier like this, and then we need to update it dot update. Okay. Success, which is going, the success is going to return the user model. So I think I should just rename this to user model. Yeah, so it's going to update it with the latest user information, user model like this. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. Let's move on to the sign in with email and password. Sign in with email and password like this. Build context string email string password string first name and then string last name. Yeah, like this. There is going to be an asynchronous function. The state is equals to true. Then I'm going to say final user is equals to await auth service dot sign up with email and password. Yeah, like this. State is equals to false, and then user.fold. So in case of a failure, let's just copy this scaffold messenger here let's paste it, and then user model. We're just going to do the same thing. So let's copy this, copy, and then paste. Okay, so that's basically it. The next thing is future void sign out. Async auth service dot sign out. And then let's use the stream for getting user details. User model get user details. Takes in a string which is a UID. String UID, and then we're just going to return auth service dot get user details like this. Okay, so now we are done with our auth control. Let's just go and take care of a few things. The first one is final auth control provider. Let's go to state notifier provider. It takes in auth controller, a bool, and then it returns a reference, and then auth controller ref dot watch auth service provider, and then yeah, that's it. So that's it for our auth controller. Now the next stage is we are going to move to the user interface. Okay, so let's move on to creating our user interface. Let's go into our views, and then we are just going to create the sign. We are just going to create the sign-in screen. Dot. And we're also going to create the register screen. Dot. Okay, so this is going to be a stateful widget since we are going to use some controllers. Okay, so we're going to say final email controller is equal to text editing controller. Okay, same with the password controller. Okay, so the next thing is we need a form key. Right, so now we need a dispose method. So we just need to dispose these controllers. Same with the password. Alright, so now we need sign in with email and password. So we need to provide the context, email, okay, so we just need to we need to change this to consumer stateful widget, because we need to consume our auth controller provider, right? Consumer stateful widget, and then we need to change this to consumer state. And then we just need to implement just import flutter report, and then we are done. So reference.read, we need to read the auth controller provider. Yeah, dot notifier, and then dot sign in with email and password, like this. Okay, since this is nullable. Okay, so let's get rid of this nullable sign here. Right, so now what we need to do is we need to return a scaffold. Let's give it an elevation of 0 and also a background color of white. Alright, and then we need a body. So the body is going to be safe area. And then single child scroll view, single child scroll view. And then child is going to be a form like this, and then we need to provide the form key. And then we need a child which is going to be a column. Children, then constant text, we just use text, and then we're just going to say welcome. Let's give it a style, text style. Colors dot black, font size is 25, and then font weight, it's font weight dot bold. Okay, then just give a sized box height of 50 like this, and then yeah, let's center this text. We want it to be centered, so let's just use the center. Okay, now comes the most interesting part, where we have to build our text form field. Text form field. Enable suggestions, yeah, true. Let's also keyboard type. Let's give text input dot email address. Okay, controller is equals to email controller, like this. All right, and then we add decoration, input decoration, and then we need a border, which is outline input border. Then border radius, let's give it a border radius dot circular, let's give it a 10. Okay, and then we also need a border side, which is constant borders width, let's give a width of 0, and then style, which is border style dot bold, border style dot solid, right? And then we need the hint. Example 48 at gmail.com, like this. Okay, and then we need a prefix icon. Let's just give it a prefix icon. All right, and then we are going to say align with label hint, and then we're going to say true, and then we have a validator. So here we're just going to say value, going to take a value, and then we need to make sure that the value is not empty. If value dot is not empty, we need to check if it's empty. Sorry, it's empty. And then we need to check that it contains the @ symbol. Then we say enter valid email. So course we are just going to return null, right? Then constant sized box height, let's give it a height of 32, right, like this. And then what we need to do is, let's just give it the text form field some padding. Let's just pad it, padding, and then let's just copy, then paste it below, and then let's change to password controller. Okay, let's also change the hint to enter password. Enter password. And then let's also, if the value is empty, what we're going to do is we are just going to say password is not empty. Okay, and then we are just going to return null. And then constant, and then let's give it a sized box height of 16, and then another size box again for the elevated button. Sized box height 50, and then width is 350. Let's use, and then Java the text. Sign in, and then yeah, let's just center this size box. Okay, once we center it, now what we are going to do is we are going to have a constant sized box. Let's give it a height of 32, and then we are going to have a text. We are going to say no account register, like this, and then let's style it text style. Let's give it a color of colors.black, colors.black, font size of 25, and the font weight at 700. Okay, this is supposed to, let's just center that. Alright, and then gesture detector here, gesture detector, and then on tap, we want to make sure that when we tap this text, we are going to navigate dot push, then material page route, and then it will take in the context, and then it will take us to the register screen. So it doesn't exist yet, so let's just go in there and then create a stateful widget, register screen. Alright, so let's just import it. Okay. Okay, now that this one is done, let's move into our button. So on our button, we need to make sure that on pressed we sign in with email and password, and then we are going to use email controller.text and also password controller.text, like this. Okay, so now we are done with this part, right? So this is almost similar to the next part, so let's just copy this, and then let's paste it inside the register screen, because we don't need to be rewriting all this logic, it's already there. Okay, so we just need to change a few things, right? Okay, so let's just import our material.dat, and then after this let's just increase with final first name controller. This is the text editing controller. And then the same for the last name controller, right? Yeah, let's paste it again below. Okay, so now we are done. What we just need to do is we need to copy this padding, copy it. We need to copy both of these, copy, and then paste it below. And then we are gonna change this to first name. First name, and then we need to change this to text input to text. Okay, we need to change this to person. No, we need to check if value dot is empty. If the value is empty, then we enter valid, enter first name, like this. Okay, now So we also need to change this to first name controller. First name controller, okay, like this. Right. Yeah, I think that's it. Then let's paste this also below. Let's remove this. Enter last name. Okay, and then let's change this to last name. Change it to person. Right. Then we also need last name. Text input to text. Okay, let's go to our password. Controller dot password, visible password, like this. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to change this to sign up with email and password, string email, string password, string first name. And then string last name, like this. Okay. So we need to go and change sign in, sign up here. Email, password, first name, last name. Yeah, we need also to go here and change sign up. Then let's just say register. Here what we need to just do is already have an account, so sign in. Okay, so we need the first name controller to text, last name controller to text, like this. Right, so now what we need to do is we are done with almost everything. Now what we need to do is for state persistence, right? So here we need to wrap this with a widget. The widget is going to be provider scope, provider scope, boom, and then yeah. Okay, here we go. And then we need to change this to consumer widget. Consumer widget, like this. So what we are going to do is after my app, we need to initialize the user model. User model, like this. Okay, and then we need to import it. let's make sure that it's nullable also. Okay, and then we need to get user data. We'll get user data, and then we need to pass in the widget reference. Widget ref, and then user, and then we need to pass in the data like this. Async, which is and then we are going to say user model is equals to await. Now we are setting this user model to the data. We have dot watch auth controller provider. Then we are setting it to the data that we are getting from our Firestore. Okay, it's saying future can be assigned to the value. Feature can be assigned to the variable user model. Okay. A quick fix at the cast is user model. No, this await is not being accepted here. So okay, like this. So I made a typo. So and then we are going to say ref.read. So now what we are going to do is user provider dot notifier dot update the state to user model. Okay, so what we are basically doing here, if we go back to our auth controller here, we have this user provider that we had set to null, right? We had set to null. This is what this user model, we are going to use it to store the user's information, right? So and then we said when the user logs in, let's say they sign in, we updated this user provider state to the user model. So that is the user model now, which contains information about the user. We did the same with sign up with email and password. So here we are simply updating it, right? So now what we need to do after this is we need to go here and then just say widget reference ref, and then ref. What we need to do is we need to just cut this, right? And then we are going to say return reference dot watch. We are going to watch the auth state change provider, which I forgot to code here. So what we're just going to do is we're going to say final auth state provider is equals to a stream provider. Then we are just going to say final auth controller is equals to ref dot watch auth controller provider dot notify, like this, right? And then we are here we are just going to return auth controller dot auth state change, right? Then like this. So if we go back here, we are going to say auth state provider, right? So this auth state provider, basically what it's going to do is it's going to check the state of our user, if he is logged in or is not, right? Auth state provider dot when, and then if we have the data, and then we are going to also have an error, and then a loader. So if we have the data, that means that if we have the user is not, if the user is not equal to now, what we are going to do is let me just we're just going to say data, then we're just going to paste this, okay? And then if we have an error, what we are going to do, let's go to constants. Then let's just say error text dot dat, like this, and then stateless widget. And then we are going to say it's going to be an error text, which is going to just display a text. It's going to take in a string error, like this, and then required this dot error, like this, okay? Let's remove this constant. So what we are going to do, we are just going to display a text with an error, right? Style, text style, color, and then colors dot black. Then the font size is going to be 20. Then we'll give it a font weight. Font weight dot, let's just use 400, like this, and then it's supposed to be a constant, right? And then now we also need a loader, so I'm going to say loader dot that, like this, and then it's going to be also a stateless widget, and then it's going to be a loader, and then it's going to return a circular progress indicator. Let's center it, and then constant, like this, okay, perfect. So here this error is an error, and there's an error and a stack trace. Then what we are going to do here, we're just going to return that error text, then we're going to say error to toString, like this, and then loader is going to return a loader, like this. All right, okay, so now that we are done, so I think there's something we might be having an error somewhere. My app constant, let's move a constant. Yeah, so now what we need is we need to use the core router package, right? We need to use the core router package to create some routes. So I'm just going to create file called router.dat. Okay. You know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create two. Final, we have the logged out route, which is equal to route map. So to route map, and then routes, we are just going to say slash login, which is underscore here, and then material page. You must return the material page. Yeah, now let's push in login page. Login page like this. Oh no, it's supposed to be login screen. Sorry, it's supposed to be sign screen. Okay, let's just copy this and then let's paste it below. Logged in out. So if we want that, if our user is logged in, we want to redirect them to the dashboard, screen. Okay, right, perfect. So let's go back to our main.dat file. So instead of material app, we need to modify it a bit to use material app.router. Okay, and then let's remove the home. So we need a route information parser, which is constant route master parser like this. And then we need the router delegate, which is going to be route master delegate, route master delegate, and then it's going to take in a context, and then we are going to check if the data is not equal to null. So as you can see from this is our user. So that means that if the data is not equal to null, that means that this user exists, or this user is logged in. So what we are going to say is we are going to get user data, and then we return logged in route, right? Else we just want to return a logged out route like this. Okay, so perfect. I think now our application is ready to run. So let's run it and see how it looks and how it works. Okay. Okay, so it's saying page was not found, so I think I know. Let's just move this, and then let's just refresh the application. Okay, yeah, we're good to go. So let me just at epharmacy.com. Okay, okay. So as you can see, now we are now logged in, and somehow it was saying now operator used on a now value. We have to check that. So if we go to our Firebase, let's go to our Firebase console, go to console, ecommerce YouTube. If we go to our authentication, you can see issue at epharmacy.com. Also with the database, you can also see, yeah, here issue on eso admin false. I'm not an admin so far, as you can see. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. So in the next video, we'll start building on the dashboard and uploading products, getting products, and also editing the products. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.